Greetings, everyone. Well, continuing on with the PS2 game overview, let's take a look at these ones. Welcome back. Okay, this time around we're going to take a look at my oh-so-massive sports and racing game collection. Yeah, can't you tell I'm a huge sports fan? I really am not a huge fan of sports games. In fact, I despise most of them. I think they're probably the single most disposable subgenre of video games anywhere, and I can't believe that so much money is spent on them. It's like people just gotta have the latest and greatest, basketball game or hockey game, and then they just throw it away the next year for the new edition. And it's like, well, is the new edition really that different from the old edition? Why don't you get the previous year's edition for $5 instead of plunking down $60 for the new one? I don't know. It just doesn't make any sense to me. Anyway, one type of sports game I do enjoy is a good racing game. And oddly, I don't seem to have very many. I have a few more on the PS3 now. But, yeah, I used to play racing games a lot more back in the day than I do now. But there are still a few that I really enjoy, and that's what we're going to go into today. And there's, occasionally, well, actually, before we get into the racing games, let's get into sports for a moment here. Occasionally, a sports game will appear that I do enjoy. For example, SSX3. Now, what is it about SSX3 that I like versus a lot of other sports games? Well, a few things. First off, this one is not event-oriented so much. It's basically, it's a snowboarding game, and they give you like a full three-peak mountain to explore. It's totally free roaming, and it's just amazing. It's so much fun. And a lot of the tricks and such are things that are generally not really physically possible, so there's kind of a fantasy aspect to it in that respect, because there's, you're doing things that no normal human would really be able to do realistically. The other thing is, it's just a gorgeous game. The scenery is just breathtaking in this, and they really made full use of this generation's graphical capabilities. And it's just a great game. The other thing is, normally I'm not a big fan of soundtracks that use excessive licensed music, except with SSX3, because with SSX3 they got some really, really good licensed music. It's one of the best licensed music soundtracks I think I've ever heard, and it's just beautiful. Yeah, there's a lot to see in this instruction manual, isn't there? Yeah, anyway, you get a few of the character profiles there. Yeah, so anyway, little bit of a story here. I used to work in a movie theater, and shortly after I left the theater, they had every once in a while they would have a movie night and a game night. And shortly after I left the movie theater, I would still get invited back, because I was on good terms with the management and whatnot, for the staff parties and whatnot. So one time, my friend Ben and I brought my PS2 to the theater, and we hooked it up for one of these staff parties. And we hooked it up to a video projector in the smallest theater, which is small for movies, but huge for a video projector. And we played SSX3 up on the big screen in full surround sound, and it was just spectacular. We were the only ones there who actually knew how to play it, so we were just blowing everybody away with our mad skills, yo! So anyway, SSX3 is just crazy, stupid fun, and even if you hate sports games, I recommend giving it a shot just because it's fun. It's just a lot of fun, and really enjoy it. And the guy who does the tutorials on this, DJ Atomica, is also on Burnout Paradise. He does the tutorials there. Some people find him annoying. I don't mind him. I think he's alright. Let's see here. Now let's go realistic down to non-realistic. Well, for sheer realism in racing games, you really can't get any better than the Gran Turismo series. Now, the first one I ever played was Gran Turismo 3 A-Spec, which of course was a pack-in disc with the PS2 for a long time. But I never bought it. Now, I'm not a huge car freak, so the realism aspect of it, the technical specs and whatnot, didn't really interest me that much. The thing I like about it is just it's such a beautiful looking game, And it really gives you the feeling of actually driving all of these cars. I mean, it really simulates the feel of the cars quite well, especially if you're using a force feedback steering wheel, which I do have. So, you know, a force feedback steering wheel plus Gran Turismo, you can't go wrong. So here we got a very thick manual that gives you all the lowdown. It's actually color, which is nice. And even though there's not a lot of pictures, but the few that are there are in color. Yeah, kind of wasted the color there, didn't they? Anyway, Gran Turismo 5 for the PS3 is finally on the radar. It's been in the works for, I don't know, probably 3 or 4 years now. There was what they called the Gran Turismo 5 prologue released a little while, well, a few years ago. And people were wondering, well, when's the full game coming out? Well, finally, the full game is coming out. I don't know the release date, or if they've even assigned it a release date yet, but it is finally coming. Anyway, for the PS2, GT4 is as ultimate as it gets. I mean, this is just the most amazing looking game. And again, actually, it has a licensed music soundtrack that's really, really good. And very appropriate to whatever you're doing. And just more cars. How many cars does this have? Over 700 cars, spanning a century of automotive history, up to 100 tracks from across the world, spectators that react to your every move, new game modes like photo mode and B-spec mode, racing in all its breathtaking, utterly merciless glory. The one big complaint people had about the Gran Turismo series was when you crash, your car doesn't show any visible signs of damage. Apparently, Gran Turismo 5 finally fixes that mistake, and you'll be able to trash all the most expensive sports cars in the world to your heart's content. So, in addition to having, you know, the realistic driving experience. So, really, really cool. I mean, even if you're like me and you're not particularly a car buff, you cannot deny the beauty and thrill of this game. I mean, it's just, it doesn't get any better than that. And then, if you want to go a little more chaotic, you can't go wrong with Burnout 3 Takedown. Now, there was a bunch of... Burnout actually started on the PS1, and there was a bunch of sequels on the PS1. And, well, there's a couple sequels. Yeah, I think 1 and 2 were on the PS1, and then 3 and up were on the PS2. But this game is just so much fun. This, again, is what I call stupid fun. And it's great. It's all about the crashing, all about causing as much chaos as you possibly can. I'm not sure what this is here. Burnout Revenge. That's right. So Burnout Revenge, the fourth one. I guess it was just about to come out. Yeah, because this is the greatest hits version. So I guess they put the greatest hits version out right before the fourth one came out. I never got this one. This is the only one I actually bought. But yeah, just love this game. Basically, the goal it's mission based, or I guess challenge based. So often Cass and I would play this, and we would pick the challenges where the objective was to cause as much damage as possible and to have the biggest like multi-car pileup that you possibly can. And there's like slow-mo, and you can kind of flip your car as it's tumbling and try to bounce into score multipliers and stuff. And the objective was to get the highest dollar value of damage that you possibly can. So you wanted to hit as many of the big trucks and expensive cars, and you know, any trucks carrying expensive cargo, you know, things like that, to rack up the dollar value as high as you possibly could. Anyway, it's just so much fun for just the sheer levels of just ridiculous amounts of destruction, and it's lots of fun. And carrying on with the stupid fun category, you got ATV OffRoad Fury. This was one of the first games that I ever played on the PS2, and one of the first games I bought. This was the one that kind of made me take a second look at the sports genre from time to time, because this one was just so much fun, and I just loved it. The thing I like about ATV Off-Road Fury is it's basically got these huge free-roaming environments. You can do races, and you can even put together your own waypoint paths for your own races, so you can go through like the roughest terrain you want. And I have done that on occasion, and tormented my friends with my ridiculously difficult track layouts. And but the thing that was fun about this is, again, like SSX3, a lot of it, full color manual again, which is quite nice. It's not terribly realistic. It's somewhat realistic, but a little bit over the top. and you got specs on all the different moves you can do and stuff like that. And there's a bunch of unlockable ATVs that you can get as well. You know, my friends and I wouldn't really play the challenges or the races that much. I mean, we would race each other from time to time, but for the most part, we would just go into free roam mode and explore, because the terrain is so vast in this that you can just spend hours exploring around and finding all kinds of hidden stuff and new things to ramp off of and whatnot, and it's just a lot of fun to roam around and explore, and that's where we got most of our fun out of this game. So when we heard there was a sequel coming out, we were really excited. They did, I don't know, they did a couple of sequels to this, and but then we played it and we were really disappointed because suddenly the environments were smaller, and they were going more for an ATV simulation, and I think that was really the wrong direction to go for the series, because it wasn't the realism that made this one so much fun. It was the, you know, wiping out in the most spectacular ways possible and doing just crazy tricks off of ridiculously high ramps and whatnot. And yeah, I think going for the simulation aspect, I found that the controls didn't seem to be as slick as they were in this one. So when the third one came out, I just didn't even bother with it. So I figured, you know, screw it, I'll just stick with the first one because it's got what I want in an ATV craziness game. Then finally we have a really old game. This is from 2001. So this is like almost a Generation 1 PS2 game. And I think this is really underrated. I mean, for years I would see this in the bargain bins all the time. If you can't quite read it there, it says Kinetico. And Kinetico is basically a futuristic racing game where you are the vehicle. Your character actually wears like this big bodysuit that is the vehicle. So you got like this bodysuit with wheels on the hands and feet, and you literally are the vehicle yourself. So what that means is you can do tricks and such as you're driving along, almost like dancing, and it's absolutely spectacular. It's high speed and it's anti-gravity as well. So here you got the little art book that comes with it that shows you the design on some of the all the different characters that you can play. But it's really cool because so you're actually racing through you know, futuristic cities and whatnot, and you actually go up walls and underneath buildings, and there's just like, and there's lots of hidden areas and stuff, and it's just fast, furious. It's got a ripping techno soundtrack, really futuristic, gorgeous graphics, and yeah, I can't believe that more people haven't played this or talk about it or love it like I do. I just played the hell out of this when I got it. And I got it in a bargain bin, I think for like 10, 15 bucks at the time. Brand new. So, go figure. Kinetico. Underrated gem. So, that does it for the sports and racing section. Yeah, I'm talking a little bit more about the individual games because these sections aren't particularly huge. And, you know, and when there's underrated gems like Kinetico in the mix, I want to make sure I say something about them because I think they deserve more attention even now. So if you see this in a bargain bin and you like, you know, some futuristic racing with a twist, check this one out because it's really good stuff. And enjoy the first ATV OffRoad Fury. Don't bother with the sequels unless you're really hardcore into realistic ATV simulation. Yeah, I think they really dropped the ball on those, and you know, it pissed my friends and I off so much because it's like, oh, this is not why we enjoy the first one, you know? Like, what are you guys doing? It's not about having a realistic ATV simulation. Who the fuck cares? Just give us some more crazy stuff to wipe out off of and ramp off of, you know? Give us bigger, more detailed environments with more hidden stuff to find, you know? I don't know. That's just like, I don't know. Anyway, that's it from me to you for now, so see you next time. Until then, thanks for watching, and sayonara. Greetings, everyone. Well, continuing on with the PS2 overview, let's, bleh.